I'm not sure how to properly start these types of stories, but I'm going to try to get to the point as fast as possible. See, I'm kind of on a timer here. I'm currently writing this from one of the computers in the library at my college. As I type, I feel like I'm being watched from the shadows. I know it sounds crazy, but I need to get this story out somehow. Nobody here will believe anything I say. I'm falling behind in my schoolwork to the point where I might be put on academic probation. I also got fired from my part-time job because I was carrying the customers. Anyways, I want to at least do something so I can tell myself that it's all worth it. Even still, it might not even matter in the end. Last year, I met a guy named Jack Driscoll. He was a pretty chill dude for the most part, and we actually became pretty good friends. My name is Ethan, by the way, and I'm currently finishing up my senior year in college. Well, trying to finish up my senior year. Anyways, as I was saying, Jack and I started to become good friends after we found out we were pretty much into all the same stuff. We both liked the same types of video games, the same movie genres, and even had the same taste in clothes. I had other friends, sure, but nobody that was interested in the same things that I was. Sadly, this all changed last winter. Jack started hanging out with a girl from one of our classes named Eliza. It wasn't long before he asked her out, and the two became an item. At first, I was happy for him. He never had the best luck with ladies, so it was nice to see him with someone who generally liked him. We would all hang out from time to time, and she came off as a really nice girl. Hell, I even found myself getting a little jealous. After a month into the relationship, I noticed things started to change. Jack would stop hanging out with his friends and spend more time with Eliza. At first, I figured this was normal. A lot of people will want to spend more time with their significant other, and there really isn't anything wrong with that. I'd still see him and we'd play video games online together after class, so I didn't think too much of it. Then, things started to get weird. One morning, the two of us were waiting in line in the cafeteria. The food at our school wasn't the best, but it was fine for what it was. We got there a little late, so the line was already pretty long, but nothing we weren't used to. Guess we should have got here earlier, huh? I laughed. Jack didn't say anything. Hey buddy, you still asleep? I joked as I nudged his shoulder. Shut up, he murmured. I was taken back by his response since he sounded genuinely angry. I'm only joking, I explained. Did you not get enough sleep last night or what? This line is too fucking long. I need to get out of here. Some of the other students started staring at us now. Jack realized this and turned around. You got a problem? He yelled at one of the girls behind us. The girl froze and grabbed her friend's hand. Dude, what the hell? Calm down, I yelled back. I had no idea why he was acting like this. It wasn't like him at all. Jack didn't say a word. Instead, he just turned towards the door and ran out of the building. After that incident, I didn't talk to him. I did try to get his attention in class for a while, but it was no use. After a few days, I stopped trying altogether. After a week, Jack stopped showing up to class. One night, I ran into Eliza in the hallway. I was done with classes for the day and was ready to head back to my apartment. Hey, Eliza, I said with a smile. Oh, hi, Ethan, she said, smiling back. For some reason, her smile sent a chill down my spine. Why did she seem so happy when her boyfriend was clearly not doing well? I adjusted my backpack before I spoke again. So, what's up with Jack? Is he okay? Eliza looked up, almost like she was thinking of the answer of a math problem. She turned back to me and answered cheerfully. He's perfectly fine, she said with a grin. He's actually better than ever. Oh, okay, I said, clearly unconvinced. Well, in that case, could you tell him that better than ever, she interrupted. This startled me. I wasn't sure why, but something about his girl suddenly felt sinister. She walked away, leaving me standing there in my confusion. I snapped out of the weird trance I was in. This is stupid, I thought to myself. I'll just try calling him again. I'd called him before, but stopped trying when I was convinced he wouldn't pick up. That night, I decided to call him up and ask him if I could come over. To my surprise, he answered immediately. "Yo," Jack answered. "Hey man, what's up?" I asked. "What do you want?" "Is everything alright with you? You seemed off lately." Silence. "Hello? Are you home?" "Yeah, what? I'm coming over." After Jack told me he was on his way, the call ended. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty scared. The tone in his voice sounded panicked, almost like he was trying to get out of whatever situation he was in. About 45 minutes after the phone call, I heard a knock on my door. "Hey," I said as I greeted Jack at the door. "What's up?" I tried to remain as calm as possible. It was obvious once I saw him that something was seriously wrong with this guy. "I don't know," he whispered as his eyes started darting back and forth. "Are you alone?" I nodded my head and let the poor guy in. He sat down on the old couch I had set up in front of the TV. My roommates were out for the night, so I wasn't really worried about anyone coming back anytime soon. "Dude, what's going on with it?" "Turn off the lights." I froze for a minute. "Jack, you're scaring me." "What's?" "Turn off the lights. She can't find me." I did as I was told. This was turning out to be worse than I thought. "Are you talking about Eliza?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. "Did she do something to you?" Jack didn't answer. I put my hand on his shoulder. "Dude, I want to help you, but there's nothing I can do if I don't know what's going on." Jack was violently tapping his fingers on his legs. He continued to stare at the ground as he answered me. "There's something wrong with her, man," he whispered. "I think she's, like, part of a cult." I raised my eyebrows. I could tell he was scared, but this was a little much. Even still, she must have done something pretty messed up to him for Jack to think this way. "Why do you say that?" I asked. "Also, have you asked anyone for help? If she's scaring you that badly, you know you can go to the police, right?" "I can't." He jerked his head to face me, and I almost threw up. Jack was crying, but his tears were black. I thought I was seeing things at first since the lights were off, but he confirmed my suspicions with what he said next. "She did this to me. I don't know how, but I know it was her." He continued to cry, the black liquid staining the couch cushions like ink. "The other night, she caught me crying these gross fucking tears and said that I was ready. What the fuck is that supposed to mean?" I didn't know how to answer him. This was totally beyond my realm of understanding. I knew there was nothing I could say to give him any relief. "We'll figure something out," I said after about a minute of total silence. "But we should call the police. You should also go to the hospital. Whatever's going on with your eyes can't be good. It needs to be looked at." Jack wiped his face with the sleeve of his hoodie. "She can't find me," he said, calming down a little bit. "If she finds me, I'll..." Jack fell silent as we heard a soft knock on my door. "Jackie, I know you're in there." It was a girl's voice. "It's time to go. They're waiting for us. Your friend can come too if he wants." Jack sprung up from the couch, ran towards the back door, and disappeared into the woods behind my apartment. "Jack, wait!" I yelled. It was useless. I raced after my friend by dialing 911 on my cell. I told police what was happening, and they assured me officers would be on their way as soon as they could. Before I could respond, something hit me over the head and I blacked out. What happened next still seems like a horrible nightmare, but I know what I saw was real. When I eventually came to, I was tied to a tree trunk. There were several figures standing in a circle around another figure who was strapped to a chair. As my vision returned, I could see that each figure was wearing a long black robe and blue mask. I focused on the figure in the chair. It was Jack. I tried to scream, but my mouth was taped shut. I finally came to the horrible conclusion that I was not only present in the middle of a cult meeting, but I was about to witness human sacrifice. One of the cultists walked towards Jack and lifted its mask. It was Eliza. Grabbing his chin, she pulled his face down to hers and gave him a kiss. He pulled back and began swearing at the girl. I didn't blame him. I had a couple of things I wanted to say myself, but couldn't due to my own restraints. Another, taller cultist began to read from an old-looking black book. As he read, a number of other cultists swarmed Jack like hungry vultures. One cultist taped his mouth shut, while two held down his chair. I watched in horror as the fourth cultist pulled out a rusty-looking tool. The cultist plunged the tool into each of Jack's eyes, slowly tearing them out. The blood that rushed from his eye sockets appeared thick now, like tar. The cultist that had taken Jack's eyes fixed the blue mask to his face. He was still alive, but for how much longer I had no idea. As the one cultist kept reading from the book, the ground beneath Jack began to tremble. Black tendrils sprouted up like demonic weeds. Some of the tendrils wrapping around his waist, others ankles, and even one plunging itself into his throat. I was beginning to pass out. Suddenly, I heard sirens in the distance. This caused the cultist who was reading to stop. "What are you doing, you idiot?" one of the other cultists screamed. "If you stop now, he'll..." The ground stopped shaking and the tendrils retreated back to whatever hell they came from. Everyone went silent. The cultists all seemed to freeze and for a moment almost looked like statues. The silence was soon broken by faint, sinister laughing coming from Jack. "You made him mad," Jack hissed. These were the last words I ever heard my friend say. I watched him break free of his bonds like they were nothing. Jack charged these cultists, tearing them apart and splattering their entrails all over the frost-covered ground. My vision started to go, and the sound of the screaming cultists seemed to fade into the distance. I only wish I had totally passed out before hearing that horrible crunching. The sounds of bones breaking and organs being devoured. My former friend was eating his captors, and I was sure I would be next. I woke up to a police officer shining a light in my face. "He's up. Quick, we need a paramedic over here." I sat up and looked around. "I'm alive?" I mumbled, still in a haze. "I know you just went through some shit, kid, but is there anything you can tell us about what happened?" the officer asked. "Leave him alone," another officer ordered. "We can question him after we get him out of this hellhole. Kid's got a massive cut on his side." "Right. Sorry, kid." I looked down and noticed my shirt was soaked in my own blood. I couldn't feel anything in my current state, but it looked bad. I didn't speak the entire way to the hospital. I didn't know what to say. Things got even worse when the doctor told me that while I would survive, I was missing one of my kidneys. It's been a little over a year now since it all went down. Everyone has already heard about it on the news, and the school came under some heavy fire for not noticing something this big happening near their campus. Jack Driscoll is still missing, and is currently responsible for the murders of 10 students and the attempted murder of 1. I've gone on for long enough at this point. I guess I just really needed to get it all out somehow. I still don't know what the cult was for, why it was formed, or what it was trying to summon. Obviously, nobody will look into this further because it sounds so ridiculous, but I'm hoping someone reading this will. If not, then I guess just be careful. You can't trust anyone after all.